Hello, welcome back to today's video. I'm a little bit sick, so excuse my voice. Today we'll be talking about Personalpronomen im Nominativ. So first, was sind Personalpronomen? What are personal pronouns? The word Personalpronomen stems from Personal, which means person, and Pronomen, which is Latin for pro, which means for or before, and nomen, which means noun. So a pronomen means for a noun in that case. And this is exactly what it does. A personal pronoun stands for a person or a thing. It replaces the noun in a sentence, making the sentence shorter and avoiding repetition. I'll show you some examples and then it'll be more clear. Personal pronouns are really similar to English personal pronouns as well, but in German there's one really important thing with the genders. The pronoun should match the gender of the noun that is being replaced. You use it im Nominativ, so you use it as your subject of the sentence, so the original form. To get in more detail about subject, verbs, and objects, you can check out my video, and then come back and continue. Let's get into the pronouns, and then I'll show you some examples. When using personal pronouns, there's two things to consider. One thing to consider is if you are in a singular case or a plural case. Singular being you're speaking about one person, plural meaning you're speaking about multiple people. So let's go through the personal pronouns. Let's start with the singular ones. Ich, I, du, you, er, he, sie, she, es, it. Now the plural pronouns. Wir, we, ihr, you all, und sie as in they, or sie with a capital S as in you formal. So these are all the pronouns. Ich, du, er, sie, es, wir, ihr, sie. There's one more thing to consider besides if you're in the singular or plural case. Also, what person are you talking about? There's three cases for this. The first being the first person, which means you're speaking about yourself. The second case is the second person, which means you're speaking to someone. The third case is the third person, which means you're speaking about someone. Let's look at some examples. Examples for the first person. So you are speaking about yourself. These can be the pronouns ich in singular case, because ich, I, am a singular person, or wir, which would be the plural case, because we are multiple people, but you're still talking about yourself in the first person. Okay? So this could be ich bin 20 Jahre alt. I am 20 years old. Or wir sind 20 Jahre alt. We are 20 years old. In both cases, you're speaking about yourself. Just one is the singular and one is the plural case. Let's look at some more examples. Ich heiße Sarah. Ich bin 20 Jahre alt. Ich habe eine beste Freundin. Wir wohnen zusammen. Let's look at examples for the second person in the informal version. This would be du in the singular case, you. du, or plural, ihr, you all. So again, in both cases, second person, you're speaking to someone. Du or ihr. Du would be speaking to one person. Ihr would be speaking to multiple people. For example, Lea, wo wohnst du? Lea, where do you live? One person. Lea und Max, wo wohnt ihr? Lea and Max, where do you live? Two people. Let's look at some more examples. A dialogue. Hallo Max, triffst du heute Lea? Ja, heute Abend. Okay, was macht ihr? So again, in both cases, you're speaking to someone. First is singular case, second is plural. Now let's look at the second person formal, which in both cases is sie. Sie, and this sie is always spelled with a capital S, no matter where it is in the sentence. That's how you can differentiate if it is the formal sie, the formal you, or talking about she, sie, which is always small. But this formal case is always spelled capital. For example, Herr Schmidt, wo wohnen Sie? Or plural, Herr und Frau Schmidt, wo wohnen Sie? Finally, let's look at the third person. So, talking about someone. So you're not talking directly to them, or not about yourself, but about someone, about a third person. Singular case, this would be er, he, sie, she, or es, it. And this sie is spelt with a small s. In plural, it would also be sie, they. Also always spelled small unless at the beginning of a sentence. For example, er, sie, es ist alt. Or sie sind alt. And the sie is spelled big because it's the beginning of the sentence, but again, otherwise it's always spelled with a small s. Here's another example sentence. Das ist Max. Max ist 10 Jahre alt. And what we can do now, instead of saying Max twice, we can say, das ist Max. Er ist 10 Jahre alt. So the personal pronoun is replacing the person or the thing in the sentence. In this case, it's a person. And as you can see, it's still the subject of the sentence. It's just to avoid the repetition of the name again. It's the same in English, right? If you look at the English example, it's very similar to English. Das ist Leonie. Kennst du Leonie schon? You can switch out Leonie for sie, since it's a female. Das ist Leonie. Kennst du sie schon? Ich suche ein altes Buch. Das Buch ist blau. Wo ist das Buch? As you can see, das Buch is neutral, so we can replace it with es. Ich suche ein altes Buch. Es ist blau. Wo ist es? Now an example for the plural case. Das sind Sandra und Peter. Sandra und Peter wohnen in Frankfurt. We can replace this with das sind Sandra und Peter. Sie wohnen in Frankfurt. As I said, it sounds complicated, but it is very similar in English, if that helps you to think of it that way. The takeaways for this video is that a personal pronoun stands for a thing or a person, that they replace the noun in the sentence to avoid repetition, and that they are the subject of the sentence. Here's an overview of all the personal pronouns. Ich, du, er, sie, es are the singular ones, speaking about one person. And wir, ihr, sie are plural, speaking about multiple people. Speaking in first-person view, so speaking about yourself, would be ich and wir. Second person would be du or ihr, speaking to someone. And third person, speaking about someone, er, sie, es, and sie. That's everything. I hope you could learn something today. Thank you for watching. Auf Wiedersehen und bis zum nächsten Mal.